sketch in the corner of a notebook page, a bird that was happy just to sit inside the cage. We talked about the someday and the houses on the hill, living in the pauses where the world was standing still. But someday is a shadow that never finds the light, and we're just two dreamers saying maybe to the night. It was a beautiful maybe, a sweet almost true, the closest I ever got to forever with you. A song on the tip of a tongue that won't sing, the ghost of a promise, the weight of a ring. We were perfect in the theory, but we broke in the air. Just a beautiful maybe that was never quite there. The blueprints of the life we never built, trying not to drown in all this quiet, heavy guilt. We had the map already, we had the stars aligned, but we left the most important parts of us behind. Now I'm staring at a future that's a different shade of blue, haunted by the version of the me that was with you. Sometimes the could be is a harder thing to lose than a love that had a color and a path that you could choose. We're a story with no ending, a bridge that didn't span, the masterpiece that died inside the shaking of a hand. No goodbye, just not yet. The prettiest thing that I'll have to forget. Sleep well, baby, my beautiful maybe. I'm standing in the hallway where the light begins to fade, counting all the promises that we no longer made. Your shadow's getting thinner as you head toward the door, and I'm picking up the pieces of the heart you don't want anymore. It's a faint goodbye, a whisper in the hall, the sound of someone leaving who doesn't care at all. Just a ghost of a vibration, a flicker in the eye. Nothing hurts as deeply as a faint goodbye. I reached out for your jacket, but I only felt the cold. The story's ending quietly before it could be told. You didn't even slam the door or make a hollow sound. You just drifted like a leaf until you hit the ground. It's a faint goodbye, a whisper in the hall, the sound of someone leaving who doesn't care at all. Just a ghost of a vibration, a flicker in the eye. Nothing hurts as deeply as a faint goodbye. Goodbye. A faint goodbye. We gathered all the dry wood, we cleared away the storm. Standing in the darkness, scared to be alone. I felt the first spark flicker, I saw the cedar smoke, but the air grew thin and heavy before the flame ever broke. It was almost a fire, almost alive, something to keep us through the middle of the night. We had the heat, we had the glow, but we couldn't make the embers grow. Just a trail of smoke where the warmth should be, almost a fire between you and me. And now I'm staring at the wood pile, untouched by the blaze, just a stack of could have been from our better days. We spent so long preparing, waiting for the bloom, but a cold wind swept the valley and emptied out the room. No ash to sweep, no coals to tend, just a cold beginning to a quiet end. It was almost a fire, then the wind. I left my shoes by the welcome mat where we said our last goodbye. I didn't want wanna feel the ground, I just wanted to feel the sky. The gravel's cold against my skin, a sharp and steady ache, but it's nothing like the hollow sound of a heart about to break. I'm walking down the driveway, through the oil and the grit, trying to find the ending or the courage just to quit. Now I'm barefoot in the rain, catching lightning in my palms, looking for a shelter or a set of steady arms. The water's washing out the path, the mud is rising high, and I'm shivering in the middle of a long and wet goodbye. Let the storm come down, let the river start to flow. I'm just learning how it feels to finally let you go. Barefoot in the rain. Every puddle is a memory that I'm forced to step inside, of the promises we whispered and the secrets that we'd hide. My toes are numb and heavy, and my dress is soaked in black, and there isn't any rhythm that can bring the summer back. I used to fear the thunder, I used to run for cover, but I'm not afraid of anything since I lost my only lover. They say that rain is cleansing, that it washes things away, but I'm still staying with every word that you didn't want to say. I'm standing in the open, I'm vulnerable and small, just a girl without her armor, waiting for the sky to fall. No umbrella, no regrets, just the coldest shower that a lonely spirit gets, walking on, feeling everything, barefoot in the rain. The sun slipped down behind the hill, the world is turning quiet and still. That bruised up purple starts to bleed across the spaces that you don't need. I'm standing where the shadows grow, watching the warmth of the daylight go. It's the blue without you here, when the memory of us is far too near. Not quite dark, but the light is gone. A lonely bridge till the break of dawn. Everything's tinted in a heavy shade. The street lights flicker cold and pale, like a ghost ship looking for a sail. I used to love this time of day before you took the gold away. Now the silence has a certain hue, a deep and hollow aching blue. No stars yet, just the gloom and your absence sitting in the room in the blue hour, thinking of you. The sun is hanging heavy, like a secret we can't keep, casting long and crooked shadows where the memories used to sleep. We're sitting on the tailgate, watching daylight lose its grip, feeling every forever start to tremble and to slip. You look like a painting I'm not allowed to own, the most beautiful goodbye that I have ever known. 'Cause we're fading in gold, we're burning out bright, giving up the ghost to the coming of the night. It's a gorgeous kind of lonely, it's a warm kind of cold, watching all our stories turn to amber and to gold. Before the black and white, before the winter in your soul, we're just two hearts breaking while we're looking beautiful. There's a shimmer on the hilltop, there's a halo in your hair, but I can feel the evening chill already in the air. We're glowing in the twilight, but the fire's losing range, and the colors of our love are starting to look strange. I wanna hold the sunset, I wanna stop the clock, but you can't keep the ocean from the wearing of the rock. Hey, we're fading in gold, we're burning out bright, giving up the ghost to the coming of the night. It's a gorgeous kind of lonely, it's a warm kind of cold, watching all our stories turn to amber and to gold. If the dark is gonna take us, let it take us while we shine, with your hand for one last minute pressed inside of mine. No screaming in the hallways, no bitterness alive, just the softest kind of ending in a technicolor sky. Going down, sinking low, everything is orange in the places we let go. just a glimmer, then the dark fading in gold. The porch swing is shivering, the crickets went quiet, the garden is dying in a color drain riot. I'm pulling my sweater tight against the change. Everything familiar is starting to feel strange. We had the sunlight dripping like honey on our skin, but the shadows are stretching and the air is getting thin. Now you're gone like summer, gone like the heat, leaving nothing but the dead leaves blowing down the street. We were alone. Season on the run, and I'm standing in the frost, waiting for a ghost of the sun. The ice is forming circles on the edges of the lake, where we promised forever, for heaven's sake. Now the sky is a heavy, unmoving shade of lead, and I'm repeating all the old ways that you ever said. But the birds are all heading for a place I'll never know, and I'm just the winter you left behind in the snow. August was a fever, a dream we couldn't keep. Now the memories are buried under white and heavy sleep. I'd trade 1,000 winters for one more afternoon before the stars turned brittle and we lost the harvest moon. The fire's gone out, the shadows are long. I'm humming the ghost of a mid-July song. You're gone, gone like the summer, and the cold is coming on. I found your letter in the drawer, the one you wrote in June, back when we were certain we were dancing to the moon. But the window's leaking water and the sky is turning black. Now the sentences are bleeding and I can't get them back. It was ink that ran, it was love that blurred. Now I'm searching for the meaning in a broken word. We wrote our names in permanent, or so we used to think. But forever's just a puddle of some disappearing ink. Poetry is messy now, the margins are a flood. It feels less like a message and a little more like blood. I try to put it in a frame, I try to keep it dry, but you can't protect the memory from a long and cold goodbye. It's all just a blur, it's all just a stain. The ink just ran, and the page is blank. The garden's gone to silver, the roses turn to glass. I'm watching for your footsteps that never seem to pass. We used to keep the fire fed, we used to keep it bright, but now the frost is creeping through the marrow of the night. It's just a love in winter, frozen at the start. A heavy sheet of white across a hollow, broken heart. We're shivering in silence beneath the bitter sky, watching all the summer colors curl up, cold and die. I reached out for your hand, but I only felt the sleet. The distance grew like ice drifts underneath our tired feet. You said that we were evergreen, you promised we'd survive, but it's hard to keep a memory or a dying flame alive. Just snow on the window, ice sitting in the kitchen, but we're miles and miles apart. Listen to the engine of a stalled and heavy heart. We go through all the motions, we say hello and goodnight. But we're just two tired shadows in a flickering porch light. The flowers on the table have been thirsty for a week, and the truth is getting louder every time we do not speak. It's a love half alive. It's a love half alive. Just a ghost of a feeling trying hard to survive. We're keeping it on life support. We're breathing for the flame, but we're just strangers now, calling out a familiar name. It's too cold to keep us warm, too warm to let it die. Just a love half alive, under a gray and heavy sky. I see you check the hallway, I see you check the clock, waiting for the moment when we don't have to talk. We're holding on to habits like they're anchors in the sand, but I can feel the us slipping through my shaking hand. There's no fire in the kiss, there's no honey in the tone, just the sound of two people being lonely while not alone. Is it kinder to let it go, or better just to wait until the heart stops beating underneath the heavy weight? We're almost and we're maybe, we're a wish it wasn't so, but we're both too damn afraid to be the first to let it go. Not quite there, not quite there, just a hollow kind of silence hanging in the air, half a heartbeat, half alive, love half alive, just barely breathing, just barely there. I'm sweeping the corners of a room we used to fill, but the air is heavy and the clock is standing still. I see your fingerprints on the glass of the frame, but the glass is cracking and it doesn't feel the same. We weren't a landslide or a sudden crashing wave, just a steady erosion of the promises we gave. Now we're turning slowly, slowly to dust, corroded by the silence and the settling of rust. A little bit of you and a little bit of me is drifting out the window to the gray and open sea. It wasn't a fire, it wasn't a gust, just a love that went quiet and crumbled to dust. The books on the shelf are starting to fade, like the plans for the future that we once made. I touch the sofa where you used to sit, but I'm just holding shadows and the ghost of it. We're thinning out, baby, like an old worn thread, living in the echoes of the things we never said. You can't catch a memory once it starts to blow. You can't hold a person who is already ago. I'm reaching for your hand, but my fingers slip through. There's a layer of gray where there used to be you. Nothing to break, nothing to burn, just a lesson in shadows that I had to learn. Falling away slowly to dust. I saw the clouds gathering deep in your eyes, a heavy gray curtain across summer skies. There was no sudden lightning, no sharp crack of sound, just the weight of the water hitting the ground. We sat on the porch as the humidity climbed, waiting for rhythm, waiting for rhyme. It was a soft thunder, a quiet mistake, the kind of a sky if you're staying. You looked at your hands like an hourglass empty of all of its sands. The air went so still I could hear my own pulse, trying to prove that the feeling was false. But the sky just stayed heavy, a bruised shade of blue, and I knew that the storm was the leaving of you. It didn't scream, it didn't roar, it just whispered goodbye and walked out the door. I've memorized the cracks along the ceiling of this room, the way the streetlight shadows dance like ghosts across the gloom. I tell my heart the war is over, tell my mind to rest. I've tucked away your sweaters in the cedar in the chest. I've learned to drink my coffee black and sit in silence now. I'm making it through every day, I'm finally learning how, but still I break like a window in a storm, looking for the ghost of you to keep the pillow warm. I can build 1,000 walls and say I've moved along, but the foundation is brittle and the rhythm's always wrong. Just when I think I've made it through the ache, the wind blows your name, and still I break. I saw someone who looked like you at the corner of the street, and for a second I forgot my heart had faced defeat. I reached into my pocket for the phone I shouldn't hold, to tell you that the autumn air is finally turning cold. The world keeps spinning forward like it doesn't even know that I'm standing in the footprints where you left me long ago. It's not a sudden crash, it's not a violent sound, it's just a slow and steady crumbling toward the ground. I'm a master of the fine, a genius of the okay, until the sun starts dipping in that familiar shade of gray. I'm stronger now, I'm doing well, or that's the lie I've learned to tell. But in the quiet, in the wake, still I break. Yeah. Every time the porch light's flickering, losing its fight, just like the way we've been fading all night. We used to be neon, we used to be gold, a story of fire that never grew cold. But I look at you now, across the kitchen floor, and I don't see the spark that I lived for before. This is the day we dim, the day the glow and gray, watching the colors of us slowly wash away. No sudden storm, no thunder in the sky, just a steady cooling of the light in your eye. We're still in the room, but the shadows are thin. This is the day we let the dark reaching for words, but they're heavy and pale, like a dying ember or a tattered sail. We're whispering now, so we don't wake the ghost of the people who used to love each other most. The wick has run out and the wax is a mess, and I love you feels like a tired guess. Going dark, holes in here, the sound of two hearts in a slower beat, just a soft flicker. Then the day we did. I still set the table for two out of habit, I guess. Staring at the chair where you used to confess all the dreams that you had. Now they're ghosts in the hall, and the pictures we hung are just marks on the wall. The kettle starts screaming a sharp, lonely sound, the only thing breaking the quiet I found. Oh, the silence you left is the loudest of all. It echoes through rooms where we used to stand tall. I'm reaching for words that you're not here to say, as the ghost of your voice slowly withers away. It's a weight on my chest, it's a hole in the air. The silence you left is more than I can bear. The clock on the mantle just counts every beat of a heart that is learning to live with defeat. I used to complain that the house was too loud, but now I'm just lost in a colorless cloud. There's no welcome home and there's no good night, just a cold, empty house in the pale morning light. No more laughter, no more breath, just this quiet that feels like a beautiful death. The silence you left is all I have left. Is all I have left. measuring the distance from the pillow to the door. The hallway feels a mile long across the hardwood floor. I used to know the rhythm of your breathing in the dark, but now the air is empty and the silence is a spark. I'm reaching out at midnight for a hand that isn't there, just tangling my fingers in the cold and hollow air. Oh, it's a space after the goodbye, the heavy kind of nothing that's left behind to dry. It's the echo in the kitchen, it's the ghost inside the hall, the shadow of a person who isn't there at all. I'm drowning in the quiet, in the gap you left behind, in the space after the love that I can't seem to unbind. The grocery list is shorter and the coffee's getting cold. I'm living in a story that's already been told. I see your favorite jacket hanging lonely by the vent, still holding on to traces of a life that came and went. There's a hole in every conversation, a pause in every breath. This lingering of almost is a slow and steady death. They say that time will fill it, that the edges start to blur, but the absence is a mountain where the we used to occur. I'm standing on the threshold of a room I cannot use, tied to all the pieces that I'm terrified to lose. Just a gap in the doorway, just a seat at the light, just a lot of extra room in the middle of the night, in the space after. I'm still waiting for you. I'm practicing the way to sleep on just one side of the bed, trying to erase 1,000 things you ever said. I'm memorizing silence, getting used to empty air, and teaching my hands not to reach for you when you're not there. It's an unlearned love, a slow and steady climb, backwards through the memories and the echoes of our time. I have to forget the way you laugh and how you take your tea, until there's nothing left of you inside the heart of me. Step by step, I'm letting go of everything we knew, learning how to be the person who doesn't belong to you. I'm deleting all the shortcuts and the secrets that we kept, crying out the oceans that for years we never wept. I'm walking down the streets we loved and staring at the floor, unlearning how to wait for your key to turn the door. One less habit, one less name. I'm fanning out the flicker until there is no flame. Unlearn, starting today. I'm packing up the kitchen, wrapping plates in yesterday's news, finding all the little things we're both about to lose. The hype marks on the doorway, the scratch upon the floor, don't belong to people who don't live here anymore. We're talking in the past tense, using words instead of is, looking for the exit in a long and lonely mist. It's the moment the light shifts, the second the heart breaks, the quiet realization of our permanent mistakes. We aren't a story anymore, we aren't a living thing, just a faded winter jacket and a tarnished silver ring. Close the book and dim the lights, the history's tucked in. This is the heavy hour when we became memory, my friend. I saw you in the driveway, looking smaller in the rain. A Polaroid of us that's caught inside a frame. We're becoming used to beats, and back when we were young, like a bitter taste of copper sitting heavy on the tongue. Your laughter is a haunting now, an echo in the hall, and I'm just a stranger staring at a blank and empty wall. They'll ask me how I knew you, and I'll have to find the words to describe a soaring spirit and the song of broken birds. I'll tell them you were beautiful, I'll looking at the photos where we're standing side by side. Before the distance deepened, before the spirit died, we used to be a forest thick with heavy green, but now there's so much empty space falling in between. I can see the sunlight through the places we were strong. The edge of us is fraying, and it's been that way too long. This is where we thin, this is where we wore, until we couldn't feel the pull of each other anymore. Like an old wool blanket or a path through the pines, we lost the heavy tether and we blurred the solid lines. It wasn't a break and it wasn't a sin, just a slow turning hollow where the cold air crept in. I reached out for the version of the man I used to know. But the fabric gave away, there was nowhere left to go. We're translucent now, like a ghost against the wall, waiting for a gust of wind to finally make us fall. The us is getting transparent, I can see the world behind. And the you I used to hold is getting harder now to find. Fading out, worn through. There's not enough left of me and you, just the place where we thin. And the light came through. I shouted at the canyon where we used to watch the sun, back when we were starting, back when we were one. Now I'm standing on the precipice, looking at the floor of a valley that doesn't hear your footsteps anymore. I'm calling out to nothing, just to feel the vibration of a ghost of a name that was my only destination. Now it's just your name in echo, your name in the wind, the sound of a story that's beginning to thin. I throw it to the shadows, I scream it to the blue, but it only comes back empty, like the memory of you. A hollow ringing rhythm, a ghost of a cry, just your name in echo. hollow sky. The silence is a mountain that I'm trying to climb, but I'm losing my footing in the wreckage of our time. I used to hear you whisper it against my very skin. Now I can't tell where you end and where the hills begin. The more I try to reach you, the further out it goes, like a ripple on the water that nobody follows. Eventually the sound will die. Eventually it fades into the quiet thickness of these lonely Everglades. I'll stop the desperate calling, I'll let the air go still, but the ghost of your name is haunted in